As we come out of the stillness and holiness of the Shabbat, the chaos and clarity of the world return. And this week, clarity is exactly what we're getting, though in the most painful way possible. The world is still processing the political assassination of Charlie Kirk, a man who stood fearlessly for truth, for faith, for biblical values that shaped the West, and for the Jewish state of Israel. And in the wake of his murder, something shocking has happened. Not silence, not reflection, but celebration. This tragic moment is exposing the deep moral rot that the Marxist left has injected into the United States political left. Not just hypocrisy, but a celebration of violence, a hatred for truth, and a ruthless desire to crush anyone who dares to speak against their ideology, even by killing them. And I wonder, how many people, like another influencer in America, Dave Rubin, put down their electronic devices this weekend and kept the Jewish Shabbat, something Charlie believed in deeply, practiced by putting down his electronic devices, and encouraged others to embrace. Even in death, Charlie's influence is growing and his message is reaching millions more. It's unbelievable and powerful. This Marxist ideological rot hasn't just infected America. We're seeing its impact here in Israel as well. It explains the actions of the deep state Israeli left influenced by the same Marxist mindset. These are the same people who've spent years protesting, sometimes violently, not for democracy, but to destabilize a strong Jewish sovereign Israel from within and weaken the growing, strong, right-wing conservative Jewish population. What we're seeing isn't just news, it's just finally being exposed for more people to see it for what it is. But here is some good news. United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio just landed in Israel today. All right, hopefully we'll be hearing good things about that. But it's not about his visit, it's his very first stop, the Western Wall of the Temple Mount. This is a huge and welcome shift from past diplomatic protocol in Israel. For decades, foreign diplomats were brought straight to Yad Vashem, Israel's Holocaust memorial, upon landing in Israel. Now, as important as Yad Vashem is, that practice reflected the deeply misguided thinking of Israel's secular Zionist political leadership, framing the Jewish state as merely a response to the tragedy of the Holocaust, as if the Holocaust is why we need the Jewish state of Israel. But finally, for the first time, we're seeing a proud Jewish government in Israel with the courage to correct that false narrative. The Jewish people do not need Israel because of the Holocaust. We need Israel because it is our ancestral homeland where we are meant to be sovereign. The Western Wall of the Temple Mount isn't just a holy site. It's not even holy, the Temple Mount is. It's a symbol of our eternal connection to our ancestral homeland. That is the first thing every diplomat should see upon arrival. Not our suffering that happened before our state, but our strength, our roots, our destiny being fulfilled. This is not just a shift in itinerary. This is a major shift in the mindset of our leadership and our government and our diplomacy, and it is way long overdue. This is a significant step forward for the Jewish people in Israel, but the journey isn't over. We'll know we're truly on the right path when diplomats are brought not just to the Western Wall of the Temple Mount, which really is not holy in and of itself, but up to the Temple Mount itself on top. When it's under full and unquestioned Jewish sovereignty, it must be a place of prayer for all nations, just as the prophets envisioned, free from the religious discrimination currently imposed by the Muslim authorities on the Jewish holiest site in the world. We're not there yet, but that day is closer than ever with the visit that Marco Rubio made today to the Western Wall of the Temple Mount, thanks to our new government. Now, Israel's deep state, those who reject our eternal connection to this land, deny the Jewish bond to the Temple Mount, and have spent decades pushing to surrender our ancestral heartland of Judea and Samaria, where I live here. It's fully entrenched in the same global ideological war we see playing out around the world. the brutal murder of Charlie Kirk, the vile celebration that followed his murder, and even the voices both in Israel and the diaspora who oppose our presence in Judea and Samaria, our right to pray on the Temple Mount. They are all part of the same battle. It's a global war against truth, against God, and against the morality that the Jewish people brought into the world through God's covenant, giving us his Torah. And for us to be here in our ancestral homeland, to spread that Torah, that morality all over the world. While this ideological war plays out globally, Israel is simultaneously in a physical war for our survival. Over Shabbat, the IDF continued to carry out precision strikes against our enemies on 4 active fronts: in South Lebanon, in southern Syria, in Judea and Samaria, and of course in Gaza. In Gaza City itself, the IDF has demolished more high-rise buildings used by Hamas, as over 250,000 Gazans have fled Gaza City toward humanitarian zones in the south of Gaza. That's a huge step forward in us winning this war. As always, Israel does what no other army does, fighting against evil with moral clarity, warning civilians to leave those war zones first, even while the world condemns us for defending ourselves and ignoring what we are doing, which no other army in the world would do. Now, on Friday, this is huge news. The United Nations General Assembly voted 142 to 10 in favor of recognizing a so-called Palestinian state. After the horrors of October 7th, after the massacre of over 1,200 innocent Jews, mass raping, burning, the international community rewards Hamas and the Palestinian Authority, both terror-supporting regimes, with symbolic statehood. I want to make this 100% clear. This is the international community rewarding these evil actors for terrorism. It has no legal or practical impact, but it's deeply revealing. It shows the world has no interest in truth, peace, or morality, only in appeasing evil and selling the Jews down to the next Holocaust. And this makes one thing crystal clear: Israel must finally apply full sovereignty over all of Judea and Samaria. The fantasy of a Palestinian state is over. It will never happen despite the international community's steps to try to force it upon us. October 7th ended it. The majority of the Israeli population finally woke up to what many of us have said for years: a Palestinian state will not bring peace. It would be a death sentence for the Jewish people and the Jewish state of Israel. Now let's move over to Europe, and specifically to Britain. In London this weekend, over 1 million people took to the streets in an anti-immigration rally, really anti-Muslim immigration rally, waving Israeli flags, holding Charlie Kirk tributes, and chanting, "Send the Muslims home." Yes, this was happening in the streets of London. Maori leaders from New Zealand condemned the lies of Palestine, while British citizens shouted vulgar chants against Allah. All of this a shocking break from the politically correct censorship in Britain of recent years. Yes, some of the rhetoric was crude, but behind it is a raw cry of desperation from Britons who are finally waking up to the Islamist Marxist alliance that is destroying Britain apart and totally changing it. The big question: is it too late for Britain or any of the other European countries, Germany, France, Sweden? Well, in Britain, with a Muslim woman now in charge of Homeland Security, overseeing police and immigration, and massive Islamist influence in politics and media, the danger to Britain is real. Will they be able to change that? Well, here's the good news. The people of Britain are waking up. Charlie Kirk's murder may have been a tragic loss, but it's becoming a spark. His message is reaching further than ever. His life and death have shaken millions into asking the right questions, because even Charlie was calling out the Red-Green Alliance, the Marxist-Islamist alliance that I've been speaking about on The Pulse for years. Israel, too, is waking up. This war we are in has woken up many Israelis to realize that without Jewish values, without national strength, we don't survive. It's not about politics or religion. It's about literally our existence. And our existence is dependent on one thing: our belief and connection to God above. Not how religious a person is in their individual, personal, religious lives, but an understanding that we, as a people, as the nation of Israel, are a miraculous people meant to be here in our holy land. And that's all part of the same package. You can't separate it. There's no secular Zionism anymore. It's all based on the Bible. And around the world, as Jew-hating grows, simultaneously more people are also beginning to see the truth about this Marxist-Islamist march to destroy the West, and understanding that Israel is not the problem. We are the solution. We are the front line defending the moral, biblical-based West. And more they're saying, we stand with Israel. Because they know, these are the people in Britain over the weekend, if Israel falls, the whole West falls afterwards, including Britain. And if Israel stands strong, then hope remains for freedom-loving people everywhere. We are in for some more bumpy times. But the good times are coming, and this is all part of a wake-up process. We are in a global fight of good versus evil, of belief in God versus destruction of belief, of biblical values versus the Marxist-Islamist crusade to destroy those values and destroy the freedom-loving world, because it was God's Bible through the Jewish people that brought about the freedom-loving world. Thankfully, believers know the ending. It is written in the Bible, and it will be good, with the Jewish people in the Jewish state of Israel paving the way for the whole freedom-loving world. So stick with us at the Pulse of Israel for these inspiring, politically incorrect updates. Strengthen your faith in God above. Stand up for your values. Be a Charlie Kirk, because we are going to bring about a good ending. Am Yisrael Chai. If you are not yet a subscriber to our daily, belief-based, inspiring, politically incorrect, truthful videos about Israel, the Jewish people, and the freedom-loving world, what are you waiting for? Go to pulseofisrael.com and click to subscribe today. And yes, we are a donor-based operation. We need your donations for support in order to make these videos and get our videos seen and do all the work we do. So every once in a while, whether a large donation or a small donation, just go to pulseofisrael.com and click on the donate button. Shalom, everyone, and thanks for watching.
Pulse of Israel, frontline videos from the Holy Land. Support our work by donating today.